Hey Maniacs, welcome back to another Friday Sit Rep. 2021 is almost over, which means 2022 is right around the corner, and we've already got Vietnam Bricks pre-orders on tap, so let's dive in. All right, so we're kicking off our check-ins with the UH-1E Huey, which is the gunship variant designed by Dan Siskin. So of course we've got him in studio with us here to take a look at not one, but two Hueys. So we've got the previous version from last January, and then the updated version coming up on pre-order right now on Friday. So let's take a little bit closer look at these builds. Obviously one's still in prototype, one is in the finished version, but let's talk a little bit more about this prototype.
Well, it's pretty close actually. I'm just noticing that we've got the Marines printing on the tail here. So they have been going through and doing some of the printing. I mean, it's not like a lot because they didn't really, when they got in field, they actually, these things were really brightly painted while they were stateside. As soon as they got to Vietnam, they actually painted over all the fancy stripes and colors, and they've dulled them down quite a bit because they didn't want to be seen as visible by friend and foe alike. So,
makes sense.
So this is a UH-1E. That is a later version of, it's basically a navalized version of the UH-1 original Huey. So A, B, or C had the small body. It's a little bit shorter than the D model here. The D model is a stretched like taxi cab version used mostly by the Army, but then it became the standard Huey. This being the E is a navalized version of essentially the UH-1C, used by the Army, used by the Air Force, used by all the armed forces, but they wanted one that was more resistant to salt waters, be on ships, had some special features that they would need on ships, like the rotor brake so that the blade wasn't spinning around on the deck of the carrier or the ship that you're landing on. And then like corrosive, more saltwater resistant parts. And of course, all of the communication suite that the Navy and the Marines would use. So you see different antennas. Different antennas. It's a smaller unit. It wasn't necessarily designed to carry all these troops. They had the seats in them. You could still carry like a half dozen guys on one of these things, but they loaded them up with ammunition. Mostly turned them into gunships. So.
As you can see.
So they're mostly in support of ground operations or in support of other helicopter-borne operations. You'll have the bigger Hueys, the UH-1Ds, come in, drop off the troops, and these guys will be hovering around doing top cover. So this loadout it has 6 M60 machine guns, 2 on each side. Those are controlled by the pilot. There's 2 7-round rocket pods. There's the folding fin rocket pods. Those are also controlled by the pilot. He has a sight in front of him, in front of his helmet. He can control where they're firing. You can just aim the helicopter at it, and he does have somewhat of a control over left and right. They can move. I know that at least the guns can. I don't know about the rockets. I think the rockets might be fixed.
Yeah, sure. You can hit a big enough area with that.
Right. You just aim the helicopter, fly towards it, shoot your rockets.
Right.
That's the idea. But we do have 2 door gunners. You have a crew chief and an in-flight engineer. They would give additional firepower off the sides. Inside of this thing would be under the seats would just be bin after bin of ammunition.
Like as much as you can pack in
and
there.
they would link all the belts of ammunition, so they don't have to like stop every 100 rounds and load up more ammunition. It would just be like one continuous belt. I don't know what the number of rounds are, but this thing contains quite the firepower. This is just one common loadout. Another common loadout would be called the Heavy Hog with the 19-round rocket pods.
Sure.
They would take off the guns off the side, put these bigger rockets on it. It's a heavy load for this helicopter to carry, so it's kind of like one or the other.
Right.
And then they had a chin-mounted version with a chin-mounted turret. And you would see the turret oftentimes you would see it without the covers on the turret because it was mechanically unreliable, and they would have to service it so much that they just left the covers off of it. You'll see that, but that only lasted a couple of years. They tried it out, and either the weather, the conditions in field just meant it was too hard to keep clean and operating that they went back to this kind of clean configuration after a while. So this is most common configuration. It doesn't have a lot of markings. It doesn't have any unit markings, in fact, because we wanted to give a generic version. You could either add your own unit markings, or we will maybe at some point in the future
provide them.
I have a sticker pack that would do any of the Marine units, or perhaps we can change this to the Navy version, because the Navy did have them for the Brown Water Navy. You'd have the Sea Wolves would be the most famous squadron. Sure. And that would be a potential future upgrade for this thing. We could do a Navy. The crew would look identical, but the the equipment would, the markings would be a little different.
Sure, but in tandem, you're pretty much ready to drop a crew off and keep it supported overhead.
Right. The UH-1D. I mean, this is Army. This is Marines. You don't see a whole lot of joint operations, but it's not inconceivable.
Sure.
You don't necessarily have to. If you could change this out to Army all you want. You can take these off. We sell plenty of sticker packs that would say United States Army. You could change this into the Army model. The Army did use these. They would be the UH-1A, B, or C, almost identical. Just the air intakes are a little bit different. The early A, B, and C models had covers over the air intakes. This is just a clean air scoop. I mean, there's not really all that much difference.
Yeah,
right.
It's
It's inside. The engine's a little bit bigger on this one. They did upgrade the engine each time they did a different mark of the helicopter. But I mean, cosmetically almost identical. Maybe a few antennas that are different.
Well, I think I speak for the entirety of the Brickmaniac Nation when I say that we are very, very happy to see the continually expanding lineup of Huey helicopters, and especially a gunship version here for Vietnam Bricks, which is super awesome to see. Avi, this loadout is absolutely epic. Available on pre-order right now on brickmania.com. Anything else you want to go over?
No, this has just been fun. We're kind of completing the series of all the Vietnam helicopters. Haven't gotten them all yet, but I mean, we're getting darn close. This is great.
Very, very cool. Well, thank you, Dan, for checking in, and go pick up your Huey. All right, so we're continuing with our Vietnam Bricks pre-orders, taking a closer look at the PBR Mark II, specifically 31. So Mary Wilson was our project manager on this build and is here to tell us a little bit more about this fairly familiar-looking vessel.
Yes. So this is the PBR. We did have a version, I don't even know how many years ago.
Sure.
But this is like very well updated. Just like from a build standpoint, like the hull shaping to like the turret details, just like everything is like smoother and like just a really great design altogether. Right now, Slam got some of those test prints on there. It's going to be a little bit hard to point them out because they're under this beautiful canopy.
They're like in the cockpit almost,
yes.
Right?
But we've got like a detailed dashboard as well as like a canvas door that's printed on there, as well as just some like markings that make the boat a little more personal.
Right, exactly.
On the back there. Just want to point out we are missing a few brick arms. There are some like M60s and a M2HB on the back.
It will be armed, yes.
Yes, it will be better armed. Also going to have an American flag flowing beautifully from this.
So a couple of canvas accessories in this build then. Yeah, that's cool.
Yes.
That whole roof and then the flag.
I just want to show that canvas top. Slam did a great job with it, connecting it all in there.
Okay, quick hiccup there, but we were talking about a crew of 5 familiar-looking minifigures.
Yes, a crew of 5 minifigs. They've got lots of room and a lot of guns to arm, honestly. So everyone has a spot here on this boat. That's pretty much all for it. I think it's a really fun build. I enjoyed finding out like the techniques that he used to create this shaping in the front and everything. So, yeah.
Pretty sturdy for a waterline model too.
Yeah, it is pretty sturdy. I mean, like I'm very comfortable like handling
kind of swooshing it around as much as you would want to. Yeah, right. So if your C happens to be in the air while you're moving things around, you're not going to have to worry about it shedding parts or anything. So not only is it an update, but also an absolutely solid build. This is the PBR Mark II, designed by Marcus Elliott, project manager Mary Wilson. Thanks very much for checking in. Moving on to our standalone minifigure, we have a special release this week. So on December 25th this year, it will be 300 years since the birth of Clara Barton, who is the founder of the American Red Cross. So I have Amanda, MN Art Girl, as you know, are on Instagram with me because she designed this Clara Barton minifigure. It looks fantastic, Amanda, but I'm interested to know some of the details that are included in this thing.
Yeah, this was kind of a fun left turn away from some of the more military uniforms and stuff.
Absolutely.
And not all black as far as torso and legs, which I've done quite a few of them lately. I'm like, I want to work on a different color.
Well, and no 3D printing.
And no 3D printing at all. I kind of laughed at that too because we were like, well, should we print her hair? I'm like, oh, this hair looks exactly like the pictures,
right.
So no, guess not. But it's all right. I have enough of other fun things coming up on my plate.
No kidding.
So yeah, she was a lot of fun to work on. Very cool lady. She never stopped moving, as far as I can tell in her life. She did indeed. She got invited over to check out the British Red Cross.
Sure.
And they said, hey, do you want to be the ambassador? And then she started the American one after, the Civil War was obviously done and stuff. And so she is sporting her locket, or her brooch, I guess that would be, with the Red Cross on it. I was kind of going back and forth. It's like, okay, she did a ton during the Civil War. Should I kind of highlight that with this? And, how deep do we want to go that way? And then I was like, well, no, because it's for the birthday, anniversary, we're going to go definitely with the Red Cross.
Okay.
And so, I got that in there. But, yeah, she was kind of just a gung-ho kind of lady. Would beat people to the with supplies out to the battlefields, like before the actual medical team would get there. She and her team would be like, nope, going faster, and just take off, which was really cool. Another fun little tidbit is she was actually, I don't know if we're going to be able to see this, but she was actually shot in the arm during the Civil War. And it was a through and through of the sleeve, not her. Unfortunately, hitting the man behind her who did not survive.
Wow.
So that's a little bit of a bummer turn, but it's a very interesting, she just kept moving. She was known as the angel of the battlefield and all that.
Well, a cool detail to sneak into the figure. Wow.
Yeah, I was like, I found that out,
research.
and Landon and I at the same time, actually, he's like, did you know? And they were like, well, that's being added. The other thing that was kind of fun is this is technically, I guess, third time. It was for the chess set. We did 2 figures with the new skirt piece.
Right. But more swooping back than it's been in the past.
Yeah, I mean, Lego came out with this, I don't know, 4 years ago, probably, something like that. Don't quote me on that. I apologize if I got that wrong. I remember when it happened. I just don't remember the exact time.
Right.
But they came out with this one to kind of replace the problematic taller slope because the minifig would always flop off at the half point because the studs weren't long enough. So they came out with this, and we got to use it in the chess set for Martha Washington and the other lady.
The other lady.
I can't think of her name, sorry.
Long time ago.
Yep. And so I was like, yeah, she's got to have this skirt again. And worked with Slam actually a lot and the UV print team to figure out how to print well on the back here. The last one we did was just, Martha just had some nice shadowing. But I really wanted to make sure she had the whole bow in the back because that was, very iconic to the kind of the times.
Well, and then the flow of the fabric too. That's the really impressive part of the background here. Okay, back to the flowing fabrics.
Yeah, so I got the back to print nicely, and then got the skirt to kind of, or the petty,
the apron,
that would be what it's called, to flow around. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. I had a really good time playing with the fabric folds and wanting to make sure that they lined up and they looked right when they kind of went around the corner. So yeah, it was a super fun figure. Really, really happy with the way it turned out. The other thing is we wanted to give her some accessories. So she's got a pair of shears. She cut a lot of bandages, I'm sure.
Yep. Or even just uniforms away.
And uniforms and a lot of paperwork, cutting open letters. The other thing that she did after the war is she teamed up and got permission from President Lincoln. Actually, she wrote to him and said she wanted to do this. Is basically she would take note and kept a diary, an extensive log of all of the men that she and all the soldiers she helped and that she worked on. And then she found out there's just tons of these unanswered letters of people who had died or people who had been sent across the country for healing or whatever. And so she began answering them and set up a kind of a foundation to do so.
Wow.
So that's kind of what this represents. I actually grabbed her actual signature and kind of got it in there. But yeah, so that's her letter from that she was writing someone. Very cool. A lot of information about it in her. She has a museum, and that's where I found some document for references and stuff, and kind of get some ideas. But very cool lady, and very, very pleased to be able to kind of honor her in this way.
Yeah, and definitely a fitting release for Homefront Bricks. So well timed this year. And then, like we said, her birthday was literally December 25th. So definitely well timed in that. And an absolutely incredible figure. It looks wonderful. Very different addition to the Brickmania lineup, but one that I think a lot of people are definitely going to appreciate. So Amanda, thank you very much for checking in.
No problem.
All right, and a quick segment here to cover the new brick arms now on brickmania.com. What'd I tell you, Noah? Look at how awesome this perfect caliber combo looks with this Navajo Code Talker. Yeah, so this is the M1 Carbine full stock that has previously been released in a different version with the World War II U.S. Sergeant, but now is available standalone with that updated wood grain artwork as well. Excellent job by Slam. And I just happen to have a Navajo Code Talker down here as well. And so like I was telling Noah on social media, on Thursday. This is a pretty awesome combo to have together. I mean, just look how awesome that looks. So really, really cool. Happy to see that available now as a standalone. In addition to that, we also have the Brick Arms SKS lineup. So you have the fixed bayonet and the folded bayonet in gunmetal and brown, both of them available now on brickmania.com. So a nice little addition to our pre-orders and new releases as well, especially for the Army builders as we warm up for Vietnam bricks.
All right, that'll do it for the Friday rundown. Everything now on brickmania.com. Quick note from me, however, you might have noticed these past couple of weekends that we have brought back hashtag giveaways. We are going to continue to do those every weekend through Christmas. Details posted on Saturday morning on how you can win those pictured randos, or even on Christmas Day, the Wunderwaffe crate. And then moving forward into 2022, they will be monthly giveaways. So stay tuned on more information coming there on how you can win. Basically, if you're participating on social media, you're already going to have an excellent chance to do so. So that will do it for me here on a Friday. Thank you very much for watching.